headlines to the CBC NewsNight. A minibus official calls out unruly operators. The Barbados Port Inc. to install a waste-to-energy facility. St. Michael's School students passed rates last year at their highest since 2020. And in sports, Titans take the final playoff spot for the BIM 10 semis.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke. An association representing the owners of public service vehicles is calling out the operators engaging in bad behavior on the job. It wants such behavior, including the playing of music containing lewd, vulgar lyrics, to come to an end. Anesta Henry has the report.
Of public transport wants public service vehicle operators guilty of engaging in unruly behavior on the road to cut it out. AOPT's Director of Public Communications and Public Affairs, Mark Haynes, tells CBC News he is hoping 2025 will be the year this type of behavior, along with the playing of vulgar music on these vehicles, will finally come to an end. He explains the PSV body continues to receive complaints about the issue, which he says is not as prevalent as in the past, but is still a major concern that has to be addressed.
We are making all efforts to bring this to an end, and we are told that a lot of this is probably heightened by the conductors on the PSVs. We are very concerned about some of the people who behave badly on in this sector because it brings it into public disrepute. We are not going to sit on our laurels and allow this to continue forever.
Last year, government announced it was introducing new regulations aimed at reforming the public service vehicle sector in an effort to improve road safety and foster a greater level of professionalism among operators. One key provision is mandatory training and certification for PSV operators. Mr. Haynes says while his organization is eagerly awaiting the start of the training, PSV drivers and operators have a responsibility to do better.
Just cut out the bad behavior, the drinking, the smoking, and the profanity, which concerns us because we have youngsters who are aboard these buses going to school, and you cannot really subject youngsters to this kind of behavior.
Mr. Haynes says owners of public service vehicles must take responsibility for doing background checks on operators.
We have advocated a database which allows the owners of the vehicles to tap into that database and you get a profile on the person who comes to you for employment.
And the social commentator Christopher Williams is making it clear he is not against music since he supports freedom of expression. However, Mr. Williams says that there is a time and place for everything, and the public service vehicles is not the place to be playing vulgar lyrics.
A lot of these songs deal with women and, in my opinion, right, disrespect women. I want the drivers and the conductors to recognize that those songs that you have a mother, I know you definitely have a mother. You have sisters, you have aunts, you have grandmothers, you have girlfriends and wives, and you have daughters. Remember, you have a duty at the level of the public transport to stop. Let the underground music stay where it is vibrant and where it belongs.
Meanwhile, AOPT is commending those PSV operators who continue to adhere to traffic laws and conduct themselves in a professional manner. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
The Barbados Port Inc. is moving to generate electricity from waste collected. This is to be done through the replacement of its decommissioned incinerator with a waste-to-energy facility. The project will cost $40 million and will be funded with assistance from the Inter-American Development Bank. According to the port's divisional manager of Innovation and Corporate Service, Captain Carl Branch, this project will be implemented over the next 2 years with a mobile solution to deal with waste to be established in April. He explains that as one of the countries engaged in home porting, there must be provisions for receiving waste under the international regulations, which will be used along with port waste to produce the electricity. Captain Branch was speaking during a town hall meeting to discuss the environmental and social impact assessment for installation of the facility.
this final outcome will not only destroy waste, but it will also generate electricity. Electricity which can contribute directly to the national grid or directly to the port's daily operation. Either which way, there's going to be electrical savings, and that's the fundamental difference between this concept and the ones that have gone before. Yes, you're still receiving waste, you're still processing waste, but you are getting electricity out of it.
Meanwhile, Divisional Manager of Operations Ian Stewart says pyrolysis and gasification were investigated before deciding on incineration as the best option.
The benefits, though, that came from incineration were, look, everyone knew about incineration before. It was a mature type of technology. It was successful for some time. It was kind of flexible for the type of waste that we have here at the Port of Bridgetown, and it did not include us having to sort as such. And with regards to the other technologies such as pyrolysis and gasification, these require higher degrees of waste sorting, higher operating costs, and for sure, in the case of pyrolysis, the solutions came at high technology use.
As the invasive millipede continues to be a topic of widespread discussion, Barbadians are being reminded that they must go through the right protocol when bringing plants and other agricultural products into the island. According to Acting Chief Agriculture Officer Michael James, the protocols are necessary and mandatory to prevent the entry of invasive species, which may become a pest of agricultural importance. He made the appeal today during a press conference to update the public about the red millipede, which he says came to Barbados through the movement of agricultural products.
This is important because if persons view importation as just you can bring in whatever you feel like bringing in, then we're asking for trouble. So persons, please be cognizant and please be wary. If you're importing anything, please consult with the Plant Protection Department of the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that you can bring in whatever you need to, if it is allowed, and under what conditions these things can be brought into Barbados, so to ensure that our environment, our ecosystem is kept safe from some of these invasive species.
And while there's much information floating around Barbados about the red millipede, Mr. James says it is crucial that invasive species are accurately identified.
We recently have gotten confirmatory identification of this particular organism. It's called Trigonellus corallinus. And that is important to say this. There would have been other parts or things that were in the media recently about another name for this particular organism. And what is important to get the name right is because it is an invasive species. It is new to Barbados, although it's been here for a while. But if you don't have the correct name, then it has potential for when you go to trade and stuff like that. So it's important that you have the correct name. And although Dr. Google and Professor Google are but tools, you really need to have a confirmatory identification, which we sought through the University of Florida.
This week, the Ministry of Agriculture released a guide providing various methods for controlling and preventing millipedes from entering residences, utilizing both natural and insecticidal approaches. Coming up, a medical professional draws attention to some challenges caused by adolescent obesity. With the increased rate in adolescent obesity, a medical professional has called attention to other problems that are arising for young Barbadians. Consultant physician Dr. Sunita Alexander says it is not only leading to increased rates of diabetes, along with the earlier onset of heart disease, but also emotional challenges. Dr. Alexander was a guest on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
Because of the increase in the weight, we're now seeing also different emotional problems that we're having, where they're having lower self-esteem. And sometimes that can lead to many things such as bullying. And because of this is something that I think we really have to aggressively work on. We can no longer say this is our culture, this is what we look like. It's something that we need to really work on right now.
Dr. Alexander wants parents and families on board in addressing the issue, telling them it would not be a quick fix.
It's not going to be a quick fix. It's going to be something that the entire family might have to decide to take on. And it's going to start with everyone in the family, first of all, making a choice towards changing what you do. And sometimes what happens is that we identify the problem and then we decide to change everything all at once. And sometimes that one, if we think about it for adults, that's hard. Can you even imagine that for a child? So I think one, setting small, achievable goals involving the entire household, where the household decides, well, let's start with cutting out the sugar in our drinks, and then we change that. Then after the entire family has achieved that, then we can say, okay, let's improve the next thing. And I think that's a way to approach it.
Moved by a desire to fill the gap regarding the absence of positive male role models, one local organization is working to guide and assist young men who it says have a role to play in shaping Barbados' future. The Future Leaders Foundation has been working to tackle the problem at the core. Founder Mauricio Chase says they're in the early stages of developing its leadership programs and other projects. He provided some insight on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
We are also building out our mentorship network and our community impact projects. So some of the community impact projects we're going to start at the primary schools and what's not, and then work our way forward. But it's really about just, as you said, meeting them where they are and trying to find ways that we can connect with them in a way that we can mold and shape their minds at this stage to create that brighter future for our country.
Co-founder Kevin Cobham says the Future Leaders Foundation has embraced social media to engage youth directly.
Social media is the way forward, as much as we might, be dinosaurs to some extent. But at the same time, social media, TikTok, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, those are ways to reach youngsters directly. So if they want to join the program themselves, they can. And if their parents want them to join, within the 30, 35 age range, they can sign them up as well. As we said, we are into mentoring, we're into fostering a strong relationship with the youth. So once we can get into contact with them, whether it's through the schools, through other programs, because we will partner with other programs as well. And once we can meet them directly, we have more than enough people right now that can take the task at hand.
The learning challenges thrown up by COVID seem to be out of the way at the St. Michael's School, as its student body has done remarkably well in both internal and external exams. This was revealed by Principal Tanya Harding in her report at today's speech day and prize giving. It seems that the learning bugs which COVID brought have now been eliminated at the St. Michael's School. The pass rates for last year were at their highest since 2020. This from the report of Principal Tanya Harding at the school's speech day and prize-giving ceremony. She says they've conquered the COVID learning deficits.
And I am very pleased to say that our overall pass rate for CXC examinations this year was 89%. And this is our best pass rate since 2020, which was a pre-COVID year. So for the last few years, we've been complaining that our students have deficiencies because of COVID, but it looks as if we've overcome that particular hurdle.
And while merit badges were being issued across the year levels, one of the students received a regional merit for coming 8th overall in CXC literature. The principal says the CAPE exams also stood out.
Once again, our CAPE students performed very well in their examinations with 99% passes in both Unit 1 and Unit 2. Out of the 15 Unit 1 CAPE subjects that we offer, we had 100% passes in 12 of those. and over 90% in the rest. Initially, if you have a pass rate of 99%, it means you only had about 3 failures in the whole group. 3 students were listed on CXC's regional merit list. For accounts, Unit 1, Malik Harris made the list, and for green engineering, Unit 1, Daniel Prasad and Zubair Mahmood also would have made the merit list for CXC.
Board Chair Sonia Aline says for 97 years, the school has been guiding its students upward to excellence. She describes the institution as the whole package.
A school of soaring excellence. We're not just academics or athletic or athletes. We're the whole package. Our extracurricular activities cover a wide range of skill sets and allows every student to participate if they wish. Since 1928, we've set the standard for others to follow. While the road has not always been smooth, this school, the board, our staff, teaching, non-teaching and ancillary staff, has consistently reached far and wide to ensure that our students have the best that we can have.
A leading cybersecurity expert has suggested that a regional task force should be set up to deal with cyber terrorism and threats throughout the region. This is according to President of Digital Technologies and Services, Neil Hines. He says the attacks being experienced by Barbados and the region are a precursor to similar attacks against G7 countries using the region's vulnerable infrastructure. Mr. Hines was speaking during the conclusion of the Caribbean Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity Summit 2025.
We have a CARICOM, but we are not really working as a CARICOM country, a CARICOM group of countries. There's ongoing issues in Grenada that is affecting St. Vincent, that's also affecting Barbados. If you look at Grenada, Grenada has a very strong ICT program, and they have a very strong CERT team. This is what needs to be represented throughout the entire Caribbean. And we can build that by building also a regional CERT team. We need to work together as a team to defend against these threats.
Police have identified the man shot dead at Checker Hall, St. Lucie last evening. The deceased was 30-year-old Ver Ricardo Hoyt of Isolation Road, Belpaine, St. Andrew. Deputy Divisional Commander for the Northern Division, Acting Superintendent Roland Cobbler, was on the scene. He says the shooting occurred in the area of the Checker Hall Junction.
A police patrol was on duty when they were stopped by a resident of the area indicating that a man was shot. And responding to the said area, they discovered the motionless body of the individual. Further preliminary investigations reveal that the deceased was sitting in the area of a shed accompanied by another male when an unknown vehicle stopped. 3 men disembarked that vehicle, opened fire and drove away. Investigations in this matter is ongoing, and we appeal to the public for anyone who could provide any information to assist with these investigations to contact the District E Police Station at 419-1730, Police Hotline at 211, or the nearest police station. All information received will be strictly confidential.
Sports time now, and we say good evening to Damien Best. Damien, it seems as though this cricket is really heating up.
Definitely, St. Philip is the place to be. Good evening to you, Wendy. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Well, Titans are the final qualifiers for the BIM 10 playoffs. They won the final match of the preliminaries this evening on the back of their skipper, Ashley Nurse, who powered them to victory over Guardians at Windward. Guardians batted first and posted 101 for 4 from their 10 overs. Shamar Ford with 38 not out and Jaden Roberts with 33 not out put on 56 for the unbroken 5th wicket partnership. In reply, Titans were struggling on 35 for 5, but player of the match, Nurse, with an unbeaten 62 from 27 balls, inclusive of 4 fours and 5 sixes, guided his team to 105 for 5 off 8.3 overs to win by 5 wickets. Nurse and Matthew Jones, who made 24, put on 70 runs for the unbroken 6-wicket partnership. Here are the highlights from the runs chase.
And he's bowled him. Beautifully bowled indeed, right in the block hole. He bowls him. Bowls him. This is unbelievable. Well, that is what you do with a free.
Semi-final. Bowl him.
Well, there's an opportunity for a catch, and it is taken. And that one is played away. Down to back was square. What a shot, maximum. Well, that's what you do with a free hit. Too short and pulled away. That's gone for 4 through mid-wicket. But he goes in the pitch and needs to be counted. That's gone away for 4. More runs, another maximum. That's gone miles. 3 runs to get. And Nurse flicks it over the wicket and wins the game in grand style. That's what the captain should do. Lead by example. This has been a tremendous performance from Ashley Nurse. He found a good partner in Matthew Jones, and they came together. Congratulations to the Titans, they win. And in the end, it was their captain who was the star.
Well, Titans and Guardians end on 20 points each, but Titans finish 4th thanks to a superior net run rate. Meanwhile, Warriors ended the regular season in 1st place after they defeated Voyagers in today's opening match. Voyagers, who finished last on 8 points, batted first and were dismissed for just 63 in their 10 overs. Jason Green top scored of 27, while player of the match Andrew Marshall took 3 for 8 and Preston McSween 3 for 11. We have highlights from that innings.
Driven powerfully down the wicket and hit powerfully. Chance for run out, and I think he is gone.
And he's gone. So Marshall strikes for the first delivery, left arm spin. I know what you're saying. That's a delivery that's very well bowled in a big swing, and the batsman goes. Chance for catch. If it's taken, it is. Oh, he bowls him. Beautifully bowled indeed, right in the block hole. Smith. And that's in the air. Chance for a catch. Catch taken. Now look at that scoop. And oh wow, gone. Now he decides to go up, and the ball will go for 6 runs.
Think about his plans again.
Well, he decides to go short, and the batsman goes. It's in the air. Catch should be taken. It is. The Voyagers all out for 63.
Warriors were, however, made to fight for the victory as they ended on 66 for 8 of 9.4 overs to win by 2 wickets. Zidane Harewood led the way with 32 not out, while Desmond Currency took 4 for 9. Warriors top the standings on 28 points and will play Titans in tomorrow's second semi-final at 2:30 p.m, while Settlers, who finished second, will take on third-place Pelicans in the first semi at noon. The final is set for Sunday at noon as well. Alec Athanaze fell 1 run short of a century on day 1 of the Windies' 3-day Pakistan tour match against Shehans. Winning the toss and batting first at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium, the Windies ended the day on 273 for 7. Athanaze of 99, his innings included 15 fours and a 6. Both skipper Craig Bathwaite and fellow opening batter Mikhail Louis made 34. Mohamed Ramiz Jr. has 3 for 40 so far. Well, that is the first half in sports. Wendy, when we come back, we've got some basketball news for you.
Well, thank you so much, Damien. We'll see you for round 2. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
In tonight's business, a state-of-the-art trade center is to be built by African Export-Import Afrexim Bank in Barbados. The project, the Barbados African Trade Center, has gone out to tender with the release of the expressions of interest. The area identified is the Carlisle Bay District. Afrexim Bank says the mixed-use complex will sit on a 6.4-acre piece of land. The trade center will comprise Afrexim Bank Caribbean regional offices, corporate office space, a 120-room hotel, conference, exhibition, and business incubation center. Qualified firms have until January 31st to make submissions. Occupancy has been up year on year at Hilton Barbados Resort. General Manager Jacques Montiel tells the Business Report it has been the result of an all-round effort from the resort's marketing team and the Ministry of Tourism. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Hilton Barbados Resort's General Manager Jacques Montiel said the almost full hotel will keep him and his team busy in the short term until the beginning of the second quarter of this year. He said they had a tremendous number of bookings for last year and that continued for this year. Mr. Montiel added that the regathering initiative could increase the numbers.
We actually end up about 2.5 points higher occupancy in the month than last year, with a much higher rate in spend per client. So we are very, very excited and very proud of what the team has accomplished here.
There have been additional flights into Barbados, and Mr. Montiel had high praise for the More Airlift initiative undertaken by the Ministry of Tourism and the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated.
We are starting the year very strong. We are looking at a very strong January and February, at least for now. March has great potential as well. But we're a little bit farther out to determine if it is going to surpass next year by March. But definitely January and February, we are thrilled with the group base that we have and with our normal clientele, whether it's local or international.
The resort head said his team already has a roadmap in place to address major events during summer, autumn and winter of this year.
We have Women's Day coming on March 8th. That is International Day of Women. We will be putting a great offer for all the women in Barbados to come to any of our facilities to dine. That will be being promoted over the next week or so in all the local media channels and the radio. So that's a surprise that is different than Mother's Day on May. We will have great specials for that as well.
Mr. Montiel tells the Business Report day passes and other specials will help to bolster the attractiveness of the resort as they welcome 2025. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
We take a look now at how stocks traded locally and regionally.
In Jamaica, Wigton Energy Limited with 2,012,020 units was the volume leader, followed by Trans Jamaican Highway Limited and Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial. In Trinidad and Tobago, One Caribbean Media Limited was the volume leader with 157,620 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $472,746.05, followed by JMMB Group Limited. And here in Barbados, Insurance Corporation of Barbados Limited was the volume leader, trading 1,500 shares at $1.95 Barbados each. They were followed by Banks Holdings Limited.
The world economy has avoided a broad-based contraction despite the unprecedented shocks of the last few years. The revelation came from United Nations Under-Secretary General for Economic Affairs Lee Junhua at the launch of the World Economic Situation and Prospects Report. He said global economic growth is projected to remain at 2.8%, unchanged from last year. We hear more in this report.
For the 2025, our projection is that the global growth will be around the 2.8%, similar to the 2024. Lower inflation, monetary easing, and the recovery of the international trade underpinned this relatively stable outlook. Nevertheless, we know that this rate remains well below the pre-pandemic average of the 3.2%, the recorded over 2010 to 2019. The recovery remains uneven, driven primarily by a few large economies. Subdued growth prospects pose significant challenges, particularly for the developing countries. Growth in over 90% of the least developed countries is projected to fall short of the 7%, the target needed for the achievement of many SDGs. Several structural factors, including the high debt burdens, limited physical space, weak investment, and the low productivity growth, continue to hinder the economic prospects for developing countries.
We'll take a break and be back with the weather. And we say hello to Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Carrie-Ann will be having some cool nights.
That's right, Wendy. Good evening to you and good evening, everyone. Well, today in Barbados, it felt cooler than usual. We do have a trough system impacting the island. We had partially cloudy to cloudy skies along with light showers. Meanwhile, those winds across the region, they are light to moderate, and a small craft advisory has been issued due to choppy seas expected Saturday night through Monday. Now, the maximum temperature got up to 30 degrees Celsius, the minimum down to 22 degrees, quite cool indeed. And at present, the temperature stands at 25 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity, 80%. The winds, they're coming in from the south-southeast. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where those cool temperatures now are ranging from 23 to 26 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows moisture is building across a number of the islands, and the winds, they are light to moderate across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where a trough system maintained partially cloudy to cloudy skies, along with some light showers here in Barbados. We had up to 1.4 millimeters of rainfall in St. Philip. Meanwhile, the winds at this time, they're light to moderate, peaking at 50 knots for us. The seas moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Later on tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with a few light showers. It will also be quite cool here in Barbados. Further south, we have the trough system along with convergence maintaining showers as well as isolated thunderstorms across the Guianas. Over now in the Western Caribbean, there is a cold front maintaining wet conditions across Puerto Rico, another one over the Bahamas. Elsewhere was dry and stable. We move now to the forecast, where the sun is expected to rise at 6:24 and will set at 5:48. The first high tide is expected at 2:27 in the early morning, the first low at 8 minutes after 7 in the morning. Now, those seas are moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. We are also urging beachgoers to utilize those beaches with an on-duty lifeguard. And once again, there is a small craft advisory in effect because of those choppy seas we are expecting. That's Saturday night through Monday. The winds coming in from the east-northeast to the east, and they're peaking at 30 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with a few light showers. Look at that low temperature of 19 degrees Celsius. Over the next 3 days, we are expecting a mix of sunshine, clouds, and showers.
And we say welcome back to Damian Bess in the Sports Center.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Well, the Barbados Netball Association will be hosting open trials for its national teams on Saturday, January 25th at 5 p.m. at the Friendship Courts in St. Michael. It's open to anyone willing to give it a try for the national netball side. Well, speaking to CBC Sports head coach Denise Aline says the aim is to unearth new talent and broaden the scope of the Beijing Gens senior team.
This is an opportunity for us to see what talent is out there and see how players would have improved and grown and developed within the last year, giving everybody an opportunity, a fair opportunity to be seen and selected for the senior program. And we look forward to seeing as many interested players out there showcasing their talent and giving us the opportunity to see what is out there to help improve and make the squad even bigger.
Well, though not having a full calendar of events as yet for 2025, there are a number of competitions, international and regional, that the team will be preparing for.
We don't have a lot on the calendar for this year. However, we received an invitation from Wales to play in a series there between late July and August this year, and there is a possibility of 2 other nations attending. We will also be participating in the OECS regional competition, which is usually held between September and October, so we will attend that this year. And then there's always the possibility of more invitations coming from other nations about series, so we'll keep our fingers crossed, and this is what we will be preparing for over the next 7 to 8 months.
And that is Friday Night Sports. Wendy, it's back over to you.
Thank you so much, Damien. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for viewing and enjoy the rest of your evening.